It should be evident to you that the difficulty of these questions is increasing as we go by. So here in question 4, we'll look at another type or another way in which you could be asked a question on arithmetic sequence following lesson 2. Now, question 4 says the fifth term of an arithmetic sequence is equals to -4, and the 10th term is equals to 35. So here we are on question 4, and we are told that the fifth term is equals to a -4, and the 10th term is equals to a 35. Now, the first question says 4.1, determine the first 3 terms of the sequence. So they are actually asking us to construct the sequence to have the first 3 terms of the sequence. Now, when we look at this problem, we are going to use the information that we learned from lesson 2, the properties of an arithmetic sequence, to say if I have term 5, I can define that as a plus 4d. Now, remember that always in an arithmetic sequence, we know that the number here should be 1 less the previous term. At this stage, I have information that I can use when I have built this equation to say T5, we're saying it's 4. That means where I see T5, I can replace that with a -4, not a 4. Sorry about that. And in this case, we don't know the first term. I'm just going to keep it as an A. And I'm going to add a 4D. We don't know also D as well. I mean, this type of a problem, we know in mathematics, or we should start having that knowledge to say if you have 2 unknowns. Actually, we know this from solving simultaneous equations in grade 11. That if you have 2 unknowns, it means we're going to have 2 equations or more than 2 equations to solve. So I'm going to call this equation 1 because I can see that type of relationship developing. Now I'm going to use the second argument, this one here, to say term 10 is defined by a plus a 9d. I hope that you can see this property as we explained it in lesson 2 to say, any term that you have is going to be defined by a. A doesn't change all the time, but here the product of this d would be 1 less the number of terms. So if we subtract 1 here, we get a 9 in d, and then we'll still be able to find this term. Now, we're saying term 10 is defined by 35. So that here I have a 35 is equals to the a, I don't know, and 9d, the d as well, I don't know. So that now I can call this equation 2. Now, these are simple linear equations to solve, where we can say equation 2 minus equation 1, So basically, I'm subtracting this equation from this one. I'm taking each number from here would subtract from equation 2. Now, when we do that, we are actually saying here that, the 35 minus 4, that should give me 39, right? If we say 35 minus 4, that should give me a 39. Because remember, I'm saying equation 2, which is this, I'm subtracting, and then there's a negative there, equation 1. And then if we say a minus a, that's a 0, it falls out. We don't have it anymore. But here we're going to say 9d minus a 4. And that actually should give me a 5d, right? At this stage, I can divide both sides by a 5 and a 5 so that this and this can cancel out. I'm left with a d, and this side I'm going to have 39 over 5. So this means my common difference would be defined by 39 over the 5. Now I can take this d and substitute into say equation 1. You can take any of the equations, you'll get the correct answer. I'm looking for A, which is the first term, right? Because remember, when we have the first term, we are able to build the first three terms of the sequence. Now, this would mean I'm going to have a negative 4 is equals to A plus 4 times. Remember, I'm taking this equation here. So here we're going to have a 4, but the D here would now be defined as 39 over a 5, right? 39 over a 5. Now, to save time with this question, I think you can just jump straight to the final answer by really actually pulling your calculator. Because what we're going to do here, we're going to take this whole number, put it this side, so that I have a negative 4 times 39 over a 5. Right, so I'm going to punch this whole thing in a calculator. Negative 4 times 39 over a 5. So now what I'm saying here, I'm going to have 4 negative a 4 open bracket 39 over a 5. This as a fraction would be given as negative 176 over a 5. That is our first term. Because this is an arithmetic sequence, it means my term 1 would be given by 176 over 5. But we know that to get to term 2 with an arithmetic sequence, we need to add the common difference, which here it was defined as 39 over 5. So it means here I'm adding 39 over 5 to get the next term. So this would mean that I'm having here a negative 175 over a 5, 176 over a 5, and I'm saying I'm adding to it the common difference of 39 over a 5. And this actually gives me 137 over a 5. So it means here I'm going to have negative 137 over a 5. To get the next term, I'm going to add the same number. That's why it's a common difference. It's constant. So we would add to this answer. We would add to this answer the 39 over 5. So that now we're going to have a negative 98 over a 5. And these are the first three terms. The sequence could continue to infinity and become an infinite sequence. We don't know. But at least with the question, we were asked to get the first three terms. Now, this question is marked out of 4. It will require a little bit of practice for you to be able to execute it within 4 minutes. Because you're going to be marked for creating these two equations, for finding the D, and doing your whole sequence. The next question from this is actually 4.2, which says calculate the 60th term. So here on question 4.2, here on 4.2, we are required to find the 60th term. Now, to find this, the easiest way, there are other methods. You could use general formula, but I'm not going to go towards that route because also I'm dealing with fractions. It could take a lot of my time. This is only for 3 marks, really. So what I'm going to say is that in an arithmetic sequence, the 60th term will be given by A plus 1 less the number of terms. So we're going to say 60 minus 1, which is 59D. Remember this relationship always. Now at this stage, I'm just going to substitute my numbers to say here I have 176 over a 5 plus here is 59. We multiply this by the common difference of 39 over a 5. Remember that you are allowed to use a calculator at high school level. So something like this, you can really punch it on a calculator to save time. So this means here you're going to have 176 over a 5 plus 59 multiplied by 39 over a 5. And this gives us the answer that T60 is actually equals to 425. And this would be your final answer. 3 marks would come from writing this formula, substituting here correctly, and finding your final answer.